Good evening, everyone. I am EHLA CAGADAS, and now we are delving with another mythology, which is a Mexican mythology. To the Aztecs, a Mexican religion was an extremely important part of their culture. The god played an integral part in everyday life from household tasks to farming. They controlled all of the elements and preserved the balance of the natural world. Because of this order, they value the most precious thing, which is life. The Aztec, like many other cultures, celebrate their gods through fasts, ceremonies, and traditional worship at the temple. They gave away what was most precious, their life, though they mostly sacrificed prisoners of war and children, because they believed that the gods grow stronger of the blood and the hearts of those sacrificed. So, in Mexican religion, they believe that their god grows stronger if there is someone get be sacrificed. So the Aztec priests were skilled astronomers and mathematicians. In the creation story, the story of creation in ancient Mexico and surrounding areas actually changed as time went by. It was likely adapted by the Aztecs of their own political purposes, though even within the Aztec Empire, there were variations of the story. But basic components of the story have evolved over centuries and centuries, so that we see similarities between the Aztec stories and the beliefs of earlier cultures. So, the Aztec creation or rebirth. The story of creation, according to Aztec, is actually a story of birth, death, and rebirth. When the world is destroyed, it's born again through the sacrifice of one of the gods, and so through the birth of a new son. So you often hear of the legend of the five sons, the five births of the world. Five different worlds has existed. When the story is told, the order of the world is sometimes different. Sometimes there are even less than the five sons, but the general idea remains the same. But it's not the endless of cycles, as you may see in other cultures, for the universe that have an actual beginning. So in the Aztec, in the beginning was the void. It was some ancient time in the Aztec creation story that the dual god Ometeotl or Omeciholt created itself. Looking back, of course, the Aztec believed that the many opposites that they saw the world would have to somehow unite in the origin of the world. So the god was good and bad, chaos and order, male and female. Being male and female, it was able to have children. It had it has it had four, which came to represent the four directions: the north, south, east, and west. The gods were Huitzilopoch south, Quetzalcoatl east, Antezcatlipoca west, and Xicotencatl north. So remember everyone to be familiarized, or you have to be familiarized with these names, because the discussions will be talk about them. So mo ni si Ometeotl ang naghimuog nagsugod. So she can be a she, he can be a he. So it means that dual siya. Pwede siya malaki, pwede siya mabae. And because of that, tungod kay pwede siya mabae, malaki, nakahuan siya og four, which is the huan katong four directions aton, or north, east, west, and east. And next, the directions was very important to the Aztecs, since their great empire was believed to be at the very center of the universe. Remember this one. Remember what I mentioned about the Aztec creation of story being political. These four gods began to created water and the gods, and the sea monster Sipaktle was part fish and part crocodile, a massive creature as big as all things that now are. This war-consuming monster, a jaw at the very joint, and Sipakli was to become of the source of the cosmos in a strange way. Ano si Sipakli? As you can see, mura siya og dragon, someone like a crocodile. Ano si Sipakli? As the gods continued to create, they had a problem. The creations would fall into the water and be eaten by the dreadful Sepakle. So it was time for war. The four gods attacked the sea monster, pulling her in four directions. She fought back, biting Tezcatlipoca and tearing off his foot. But at last, Sepakli was destroyed. From this enormous creature, the universe was created. In some traditions, this happened between the last two suns. All the 13 heavens stretched into her head, and the earth was created in the middle, and her tail reaches down to the underworld. 9 underworlds to be exact. So you could say that in the Aztec creation story, the world is one of the back of the sea monster, floating in the water of space, reminiscence of the Ericus belief that the world rests at the back of the turtle. Monay beliefs sa mga Mexican religion sa Mexican mythology. So the first sun, jaguar sun, to complete the world, the great source of energy had to be created. The sun is the key to the cycles in the Aztec creation story, but the sun is so powerful. It can just be created. It can only come into being through the sacrifice of a god. So, need mag-sacrifice. So, ang napilian nila, the god chosen was Tezcatlipoca. So, si Tezcatlipoca ay one of the children katong sa four katong directions si Tezcatlipoca. So Tezcatlipoca only managed to become half a sun. However, making this first creation incomplete. The first age, the gods created giants from ashes, takerns to eat, and the fight began. However, between Quetzalcoatl and Tezcatlipoca, in the end, the sun was knocked from the sky in anger. Tezcatlipoca sent Jaguar to destroy the giants. So, mo ni si Tezcatlipoca o Quetzalcoatl. Mo ni siya, this one, and this one. At this point, Quetzalcoatl took over for his brother as the sun. Humans were created as they are now, normal size. They live in opinion knots, and for a while things were fine. But the people became corrupt, and perhaps out of revenge, and Tezcatlipoca turned them into monkeys. Furious Quetzalcoatl sent a hurricane to blow the monkeys away. Also, the third sun, the rain sun. So, Kako was one of the early creations of the gods, the god of rain and water. Siya ang god of rain of water, si Taluk. He became the next sun, but his personal problem became his downfall. Once again, Tezcatlipoca was an instigator. Tezcatlipoca stole Taluk's wife. Oh my god. This dog was grief-stricken. He shone as the sun but refused to send rain in spite of the pleas of the people. Through sweat the earth, finally enraged, Takluk made it rain fire, burning away the version of the world. Another versions attribute to the destruction of this world. So, this is the fourth sun, water sun. The Aztec creation story continues. This time, the gods selected Taluk's sister to be the sun. She was Quetzalcoatl, I don't know how to pronounce it, but yes, as you can see in the screen, but filled with jealousy. This Catlipoca and Quetzalcoatl struck down to the sun. As she felt the sky open up and water flooded the earth, all things were destroyed again. And the darkness between the suns, Quetzalcoatl descended into underworld to bring up the bones of the dead. They would be used to bring the life to people who are now here. Mo, chuya jud no. Chay ilang mythology no. And the fifth sun, the earthquake sun, the gods gathered to bring another sun into being. This is when the Aztec creation story really gets around to explaining what the world is today. The proud god Tezcatlipoca offered himself, but the other gods preferred the humble Nanahuatzin. A great fire was built, but the Tezcatlipoca was too afraid at the last minute to jump in, and Nanahuatzin did jump. Filled with jealousy, so ni jealousy si Tezcatlipoca jump after. No, my God. Followed by a brave eagle and jaguar. Two suns began to rise in the east, and it was too bright. The gods threw a rabbit in the face of Tezcatlipoca, dimmed on light, and he became the moon. But the Nanahuatzin was weak, and he was motionless, so the other gods gave their blood to give him the energy to crush across the sky. This is the world in which we now live. The Aztec believed that it ends would come in a massive earthquake. So, my God. Tinodyo din ng langgino na the big one daw. I don't want to hear that. So, mo, i-believe sa kanang Mexican mythology na mo end ang ato ang in a massive earthquakes. Yes. And major deities, the Aztec believed that the universe was created from nothing but a binary god, Omitl, too far removed the human concerns. Omitl, he was notable for creating the gods who governed human affairs. Huitzilopochtli, the famed Aztec god of war, was the patron god of Mexica people and key figure in the creation of Aztec cosmogony. While was responsible for leading the Aztec, and his fall would ultimately serve as the harbinger of doom of the empire of its people. Was the Aztec god of the agriculture, seasons, and goldsmiths and disease. He was often depicted wearing a suit of plaid skin, and his associated ceremonies emphasized his choice of attire. While Xicotencatl of the dance mythology, he nevertheless played an important role in the Aztec life. So si sakto ba akong pag-pronounce? Xicotencatl, a god of agriculture, seasons, and goldsmiths and disease in the Aztec life. So Quetzalcoatl was the Aztec version of the feathered serpent god that permeated Mesoamerican mythologies, a powerful figure who served as a co-creator of the Aztec universe. Quetzalcoatl was often depicted as the benevolent and clever deity. His gift of life and maze were as famous as his clashes with his brother Tezcatlipoca. And the Aztec god of rain ensured that the rain's vital harvest arrived on time, even after the Spanish Inquisition outlawed the practice of Aztec religion. The centuries-old veneration of Talo kept him in the hearts of the minds of his people. Moni sila. Yes, you can see mga pictures. So, Mythology, I really don't know how to pronounce their name properly, but yes, this is one, was the Aztec lord of the dead and ruler of the underworld. He appeared early in the Aztec creation myths, reflecting their view of death an integral part of life. Following their deaths, these souls would embark on the 4-year journey to his realm of Mictlan. Mictacotli also played an integral role in the Mekai called the Aztec festivals of the dead. So Tezcatlipoca. Tezcatlipoca was an omnipresent Aztec deity who, together with Quetzalcoatl, created the world and everything in it. Closely associated with jaguars, smoke, and Osibian's mirror, Tezcatlipoca outwitted and became the ruler of the modern era. The Aztec water goddess governed oceans, rivers, and lakes. Her, her waters were said to have healing properties and to serve as the patron goddess of both newborns and the sick. She also served as the sun of the fourth age, although a jealous Tezcatlipoca taunted her and caused her to cry himself from the sky. Quetzalcoatl was the Aztec god of the hunt and the patron god of Texas people. A god of many origins, was responsible for introducing mankind to fire by giving them the gift of the bow drill. So, Coatlicue, a goddess or snake's hair skirt, was the mother of the Mexica patron and god of Tezcatli. Give birth and during the Mexican exodus of the Aztlan, and boy consequently saved her from these three siblings. Next is Cosiquetzal, was one of the similar Aztec deities associated with moon. She also served as the goddess of the erotic love, fertility, and weaving. Her Aztec cult of worship was adapted from the ancient Mayan cult and the worship of the lunar deity known as the goddess Ai. And the fifth Aztec sun god, Tonatue, was created through the sacrifice of the several Aztec gods. While Tonat brought light to the current era, his death was professed to bring about the cataclysmic earthquake that would destroy the world. Influence of Aztec mythology. Aztec mythology and symbolisms have influenced many Mexican artists. World-famous muralist Diego Rivera and referenced the Aztec at many murals and sculptures. His murals at Mexico City National Palace depict the history of Mexico. One mural called the Great City of Tenochtitlan shows that the Aztec city and temple and people. Another beautiful example of Arabia's Aztec influenced artwork is seen in Fountain of Talo, the Aztec rain god. This giant mosaic tiled sculpture was built between 1950 and 1952 at the pumping station of Mexican municipal water system in the Chapultepec Park. It shows that lying on his back and shallow pool of his arms and legs splayed around him. Rivera also painted colorful and trinket murals of the floor of the tank. Miguel Cabarrus was a Mexican illustrator, researcher, and writer. Most of his illustration, painting, and writing focuses on the people Mesoamerica. Nobel Prize-winning poet Anacapas wrote The Aztec. His epic poems Fardel is about the Aztec sun, stone, and the Aztec worship of Venus, one lasting food from the time of the Aztec moon. They called it a guacamole, a pour avocado sauce. The Aztec made this sauce very much as a guacamole is made today, mashing bocados with tomatoes, onions, and cilantro. The Aztec were the largest civilizations in Mesoamerica. They built a vast empire and dominated a valley of Mexico for centuries, leaving behind many artifacts unstructured as well as a living culture that continues to influence modern ones. New artifacts from this ancient civilization continue to discovered, revealing new secrets and teaching us the way of the ancient Aztecs. So I think that would be all for you to able to understand my report. Kindly refer this link and you can find it the video on the YouTube. And I think that would be all. Thank you.